Out Liquor is your place to buy a case. Stock up and save when you shop the lowest prices available every day at Outlet Liquor. You never have to wait for a sale. The more you buy, the more you save. Only at Outlet Liquor.
What's your outlet?
Folks, welcome back. It is not quite the weekend yet, but the Sabres are ready to get it started with Sabres game night against David Putty and the New Jersey Devils. Only a couple of games left here in the Sabres schedule, but they're looking to make every opportunity count. So let's get our panel in here to do just the same. We got Gatesy 35, good looking as always. And of course, look at him with the four eyes, intern Benny. Gents, how are we doing this Thursday night? We're getting a nice little, at least a little daylight, even if the weather's not warmer here in Western New York. But things have heated up for the Sabres in these last 45 days. They're looking to keep the good vibes rolling against Lindy, Ruff, and the Sabres tonight, Gatesy.
Yeah, this team's been red hot, and the 4 days it's been without a Sabres game, I don't know what I've been doing. Thank God I've been finals week here at college, or probably gone crazy. Who would have thought that it'd be mid-April and I'd be wanting more Sabres games and just wanting to watch this team play more and more?
Yeah, it is really interesting. This is the first time in a while I've actually wanted the Sabres season to continue. Usually it's so dreadful this time of the year. You just want it to be over with. And then even a couple times, maybe the past 2-3 years, you're just like, I don't even care what happens in October. I'm not looking forward to that anymore. This is probably the first time in maybe like half a decade that I've actually sort of looking forward to October now. And maybe not take too much of a – I don't want to jump too far ahead. We got to take advantage of the nice weather in between, hopefully. But hopefully, 75 this weekend, it looks like. So we'll enjoy that, and we'll enjoy the Sabres while we still have them.
Things are heating up. And the nice thing about this Sabres season, not only are they getting some wins against some quality opponents, there's some storylines around the league to watch, and obviously headed up. Let's go over here first. We got the Vegas playoff odds. Every night is a big night. Vegas actually did have a pretty good night last night. They were up against it. Ovechkin scores 2 goals against them, and they still managed to get a victory in OT. So I just want to ask you guys right now, Vegas has been a hot team all season. They got Mark Stone back. They're still kind of iffy on the vibe overall as a squad. They're obviously on the outside looking in. Do either of you think that the Vegas Golden Knights are going to make the playoffs?
I think just for Buffalo being Buffalo, I think every year we kind of have this negative mindset, something bad's going to happen. And for whatever reason, this Vegas team just won't fully die. People have been counting them out now for a little bit, and they just keep kind of staying in there. And I feel like I would trust this Vegas team to make the playoffs more than the teams have had ahead of them. So I think I don't want to count them up too soon just now.
Yeah, that's a really good point. And it seems like such a Sabres thing to happen, to have the Knights just make it into the playoffs somehow. Mm-hmm. And I don't want to give sort of the universe that much credit, if you will. But I guess I'll spin this another way. Either it's such a Sabres thing to happen that the Knights make the playoffs and we don't get that pick this year, or would it be such a Jack Eichel thing to happen to not make the playoffs this year? That's just, I kind of want to spin it that way right now. I'm feeling very hopeful today. That's probably not a great thing, and it's probably going to bite me in the future, as, again, these Sabres things tend to do in the past. However, I do think the Knights are going to miss the playoffs because I just don't think their goaltending is going to have it there. And it seems like that sort of relationship between their goaltenders and the coaches right now is sort of an interesting dynamic. And, they sort of talked about that. That was on Twitter about DeBoer talking about Leonard being a sort of struggling, and then, starting in the next game, then pulling him after a goal. It was tied 1-1. I mean, that's just such a complicated situation. So with issues like that in the locker room and on the bench, I have a feeling that it might fall apart for him when it counts here.
What an evolution of intern Vinny over the last 7 months. He went from too nervous to go to a Bills game because he's nervous he might jinx him, to the fact that Eichel's the jinx. He's the one who's responsible for it all. What a vibe. He's got the glasses, and he is clearly seeing the field. And by the way, so Money Puck right now has Vegas at 28% to make the left. They're clearly on the outside looking in. It would take a collapse from either the Kings or the Stars virtually for it to happen. So it'd be very interesting, as it's obviously not all in their control, as Vegas no longer controls their own destiny on the outside looking in. But speaking on the inside looking in, Lindy Ruff, 1 game away from becoming a top 5 winning coach of all time in the NHL. Thoughts? Any vibe on here? I mean, is it that Lindy Ruff just kind of has been around so long? I mean, he's the only one in the top 5 without a Stanley Cup if he makes it.
That's interesting. And it's funny, you think of Lindy Ruff as a guy who, he's been around a while, but I don't know if I've ever actually thought of him as a coach that's going to almost crack the top 5 of wins all time. I assume he will eventually crack the top 5. I don't see him retiring after this season. I suppose it's not out of the realm of possibilities that the Devils don't bring him back, but I don't think he's necessarily their problem. But I guess it's just sort of cool to think that a guy that had so much history with the Sabres is actually so important to sort of the history of the NHL. I don't know if he'll do it tonight, but I'm sure he will probably towards the end of the season. And good for Lindy. He's a guy that I'll say he does deserve it.
Yeah, and I feel like Lindy was such a strong part, at least my childhood, I'm sure all of ours, with those 06-07 teams. And it's weird to think that he's still coaching hockey right now and about to be top 5, like at some point in his career. Would I want to be against Buffalo? No. But if it was for a team to him to get to that top 5 spot, it probably should be the blue and gold, but not tonight.
It's almost poetic, if you will.
Yeah, you could go off for weeks and months about this, but I mean, there were just points with Lindy Ruff and there were points with Ryan Miller where it just seemed like it was frustrating and you had to move on and you could do better. And again, it got to that point with both of them. It didn't happen just overnight. I mean, it probably happened over the span of half a decade, truthfully, with both of them. But it has plagued the organization ever since, that lack of stability at head coach and that lack of stability at goaltender number 1. So very unfortunate there. Obviously, always good to see Lindy, but it always makes you think. With that said, we've had overs bonanzas all across the NHL. Where are our eyes tonight here, gents? Devils, Sabres. We got Hammond versus Anderson, the former Ottawa Senators goaltenders face off. They were teaming up. They were the platoon that one year that the Senators made the Eastern Conference Finals. Obviously, the Devils, aren't going away despite having nothing to play for. They got a big win in Vegas the other night. So with that said, where are your eyes tonight? Let's start with the guy with 4 eyes, intern Vinny.
All right. Well, my eyes are on the over again tonight. I have a feeling it seems like at least once a year the Sabres and Devils play a game that is just a barn burner. I think the 50th anniversary season, you think about like the second game of the year, Sabres come out, they're wearing the white and gold jerseys, they're playing at home, and they won like 8-2 or something like that. I feel like that's sort of a regularity that happens at least once a year. I could see that happening tonight. Maybe not 8-2, but I feel like this could be one of those 5-4 games that is just basically an offensive showing and offensive chances all around. I used to love the Hamburglar. He was fun to watch for a while there in Ottawa, and I have a soft spot for Craig Anderson, and I love him to death. But these are 2 goalies that are sort of not in the top 20 of the NHL right now. So I think this one could be a situation where you're seeing a lot of goals tonight. So I'm going to take the over, unless the over's at like 11.5 or 10.5. Anything under that, I think I like that today.
Yeah, I'm kind of with Vinny on that one. It just seems like it's written in the stars that this should be an over game. Might be a rat line. Like this could be almost too nice. But adding on that, I like the Tage Thompson over for shots at 3.5. I think 4 shots seems easy for the guy, and this is gonna be a fun game to watch tonight, fellas. I'm excited for it.
I think both teams are going to be buzzing as they speak. But yeah, I mean, is either team going to be want to lay in wood in the corner right now with 3 to 4 games left and probably tea time scheduled for 2 weeks out from now? I don't think so. But yeah, I think I agree with both of you. I think that we could see some serious fireworks here in New Jersey. Some of the most fireworks since The Sopranos were dominating the ratings. And speaking of ratings, gents, give them me. What are your predictions here on the Outlet Liquor Crossing Swords pregame show? Devils, Sabres. Does Lindy Ruff move in to the top 5 all time of NHL wins head coach? Gatesy, what do you got?
I mean, it's going to be hard to top Dwayne's last prediction, but I think Lindy Ruff's going to be close. It's going to get to overtime until Mr. Jeffrey Skinner scores the overtime winner to make it a 5-4 Sabres win. And this team's just going to keep on moving forward.
I like that 5-4 marker. I'm hesitant to jump on the back of that prediction because I never want to sort of copy somebody. I'm not going to say overtime. I'll say it's in regulation. I do really like the 5-4 score. I like that this might be a 1-goal game on either side of the puck here, but I'm going to say that we get another goal from Rasmus Asplund tonight. I bet Okposo scores 1. And you know what? Let's see it. I bet Owen Power buries his first goal as a Buffalo Sabre. You know what I think that happens is? I bet it's a shot from the point that gets deflected in front. They originally give it to somebody like maybe Vinny Hinostroza, and then they realize afterwards, oh, actually Owen Power scored it, and then he gets the puck. That just seems so poetic. So that's my prediction for today.
I think the ultimate poetry is how it went from a casual, like, you know what, Owen Power gets one. Owen Power gets one, and what's going to happen is it's deflected in front, and it gets taken away from Vinny because things get taken away from Vinny sometimes, and I just want some justice regarding that. Folks, we want justice for you. Yeah, it does happen. It does happen. But the vision is clear, and these Sabres are a vibe right now. Let's go have a great game in New Jersey. Let's go have no injuries. Let's go have some entertainment. And let's go see what this team can do. Let's see what we can do. Make sure you're following along. Trainwreck, Apple, Spotify, SoundCloud, YouTube, Twitter, Twitch, Facebook. We are rocking. We are rolling. Make sure you're following Intern Vinny V Cristiano 3. Make sure you're following Gatesy 35. And make sure you are strapped in because this train never stops. And you know here at the Crossing Swords pregame show, it is all about 3 words.
Let's go, Buffalo.